Hey there, my name is Victoria Errold, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the character trait of discipline. I'm going to take you through the word and how it might make you feel. Why is it that you feel the way you do about the word? Look at the definition itself, and then talk about why it matters applying discipline and teaching discipline as a character trait in sport. So, let's think about the word discipline. When you hear the word, how does it make you feel? Do you resonate positively or negatively with the word? If it made you feel negatively, it made you maybe think about punishment and discipline as a child, your perceptions and feelings of the word are right on par with how a majority of the community feel. When we think of discipline, we tend to think of a behavior management style, and we tend to have these negative feelings about discipline. We can use discipline in two different ways. There's a direct application, an example, a mother disciplines her child for using swear words, or a practice of self to make a behavior change for a more desirable outcome. So, for instance, if I could be more disciplined at flossing my teeth every single night, I would have a better dental checkup. So we're going to look at what shapes our beliefs of discipline. And I largely feel that it has to do with society. We are bombarded with we should be this, we should be that through media and marketing and glamorized celebrity lifestyles. And I think that's really shaping a lot of, why we feel the way we do about discipline and how we feel about ourselves. And we see in society preaching and teaching us to believe that if we were thinner, or if we worked out more, or if we wore these clothes instead of that clothes, that maybe our life would feel more fulfilled. And so we see people trying to practice discipline, but chasing of non-moral values, and a life chasing non-moral values using discipline is a life that's unfulfilled. So a couple of things I wanted to tie into our practice of discipline. Two passages from the Bible, one being we're reminded in Romans to not conform to the patterns of this world. Once again, I think society is teaching us to chase and use discipline, fame, fortune, and that's not really why God gave us purpose on this earth. And then we can look at John 3:16 that remind us that if we believe in the Lord and if we use discipline to practice his teachings, that we're going to be given that gift of eternal life, which is far more valuable than anything non-moral. I love this quote found in our Ethics 101 book from Maxwell. A desire for pleasure can be a terrible master. The fact is that pleasure most of us pursue are short-lived and leave us unfulfilled. The things that tempt us rarely deliver on what they are promised. So the truth about discipline, why do we feel negatively about it? Why is it so hard? Why do we think about failed attempts at diets and exercise and trying these new routines? Well, we can consider, first of all, Freud's pleasure principle, and that's that we want to avoid discomfort at all costs. And so if we can take a short route, or if we can satisfy our hunger, our thirst, our desires in a more quick and easy way, then we're going to do that than rather take the long route. We also live in a society that's constantly preaching to us, if it feels good, do it. Once again, this is a Maxwell definition, but he says we are microwave people. Pop it in, take 30 seconds, we're done. We're no longer hungry, and we can keep getting going with all the other things that we're trying to get through the day. And it's important to note that the best way for us to develop discipline is to practice delaying our gratifications. So let's look at the textbook definition of discipline, and then we're going to apply it to developing discipline through sport. So I think in this definition, there's 6 parts. I would take parts 1, 3, 5, and 6 to be able to use it in an application of sport. So, why does discipline matter? Well, we are faced with challenges, difficulties on a daily basis. And if we don't know how to properly respond to those, we are faced with responding with anger, blame, self-indulgence, and that can really set us down the wrong path. So it's really important that We consider teaching discipline because it empowers inner strength, it helps us be obedient, and we need to be able to stand morally upright when we're faced with these challenges. And along with those things, we can use prayer to help our discipline. So, discipline in athletics. Let's go there. Well, what I really enjoy about discipline is that we believe in our society that there's a lot of discipline associated with success. And for you to be successful in whatever you do, it's going to take some sort of sacrifice. And we can see that in the marshmallow test, which there's a clip of this video attached to this presentation for you to watch. But the summary of the study is that the longer that we are able to delay gratification, the better successful outcomes we could have. And so the video, which you'll watch, the results kind of indicate that those who can delay their gratification are likely to have better grades, more social confidence, and have stronger abilities at coping with stress. So I hope you enjoy that clip, and then we'll continue with this presentation. So what does discipline look like in athletics? Specifically, what does an athlete with discipline look like, and what do teams with discipline look like? Well, discipline is simply focused attention and effort. When discipline is balanced and done through love, discipline is involved in all athletic success, okay, individual or teams. Also, Brown notes that discipline is the characteristic that sets teams apart. It's what gives them that edge. So we've talked a lot about what would it look like to be a disciplined person. So consider what is life without discipline. And this is from Henry Frederick Emile. He who floats with the current, who does not guide himself according to higher principles, who has no ideal, no convictions, such a man is a mere article of the world's furniture, a thing moved instead of a living and moral moving being, an echo, not a voice. So, why we have to teach discipline. Here's some facts about disciplined athletes. Disciplined athletes accomplish more, have a greater sense of pride, and tend to be better teammates. They're reliable and trustworthy. Discipline involves learning to respect the game, their teammates, the coach, and most of all themselves. We're constantly learning that our duty as a coach is to teach more than the X's and O's, and we have this moral obligation to teach character and just constantly practice that. And I think the biggest benefit is that we see that athletes are learning to respect themselves, and if you can respect yourself, then I feel like you're going to be able to have more discipline and really be able to pursue those goals that you're looking to achieve. So consider, does sport teach discipline? Sport alone does not teach discipline or other values of moral character, but a coach can. Coaches are the connecting link between teaching these lessons and the athlete in application with sport. Outside of the home, coaches are often the only connecting link for these values. And consider, if we are not teaching these values to our athletes, who does that leave? Role models? People in our society, celebrities, people who are chasing non-moral things. So we really have an obligation to teach these principles and practices to our athletes. So how do we teach discipline? We become it, we model it, and we demand it, okay? We have to embody this trait along with other characteristics. Once we are that, then we can model it to our athletes, and then we can demand it, and we can be positively demanding. I really love looking to John Wooden whenever I'm in need of some coaching guidance. Our task is not easy at all, but it is our moral obligation. We have to be persistent at it and give effort and constant application. John Wooden, to me, is just the epitome of a principle-centered leader. He really took success and defined it far beyond win and losses, and he was an excellent role model for his athletes. He always reminds us that young people need models, not critics. And so an example of that is that he would go into the locker room and pick up the towels on the floor, and then soon enough he would see the behavior change in his athletes rather than just asking him or criticizing them to do it. So what type of coaches can teach discipline and other characteristics? Successful coaches have and model persistence. Stay with and believe in your kids. They need you, your persistence, and your faith in them much more than they are willing to admit. If you want to have teams that never quit, then you as the coach have to have the same spirit. I really appreciate that information because sometimes it feels like what we're doing, maybe we're not appreciated for what we do, or it's a tough day, but I love that. Your faith in them means much more than they are willing to admit. So keep going, coaches, athletic directors, keep teaching, don't quit, have the same spirit, and we will be able to really positively influence the populations that we work with. So go ahead and ask yourself now, is what you're doing today getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow? If not, take the opportunity to recenter yourself, pray, and have that talk with God, because you are free to choose, but the choices you make today will determine what you have, be, and do tomorrow in your life. That came from Zig Ziglar. Here you can follow my YouTube link so you can watch this presentation, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about discipline. Don't forget that God is preparing you for greater things. Thanks. Have a great day.